Hey there, everybody. It's me, Chris Herman, for another episode of On Deck. Today's episode number 75. Hard to believe, 75 episodes in about a year. Feel really good about that. Just getting started. Have a lot to say. Looking forward to a lot of great conversations with other people. And I've got a lot I want to say myself. Today's episode, what I see. What I see. And what do I mean by that? I'm talking about what I see in the world today, and I'm going to share some thoughts. The previous episode that I did that went live the other day, about Joe Rogan, really kind of started me on this topic, and I want to continue this theme. And I will say that I've really personally felt a great sense of concern and or trepidation or fear at times of communicating my thoughts and beliefs on what I see going on in the world right now. We live in an environment right now where it is very scary to communicate your thoughts and beliefs, no matter what they are. I mean, it's like if you want to say anything in this world right now, boy, you better damn well watch your back, right? And I'm just not gonna. I'm not going forward that way anymore. I'm not holding my mouth anymore. I'm not holding my tongue. I'm gonna be respectful because I feel that at the end of the day, my common core value is love and understanding and appreciation, understanding of differences, accepting of differences. But we live in a world now where fear is driving way too much, and it's driving a lot of good-hearted, sensible people on the left and the right from disengaging from the national discourse, if you will, for fear of saying the wrong thing, being labeled something that they're not, being outcast by friends or family, losing their jobs, losing their livelihoods. Nobody can speak up as adults right now. That doesn't mean nobody can, because there's plenty of people that are, and I'm joining that group. But I've sat for months watching what I see going on in the world right now, what I see going on politically, what I see going on geopolitically, what I see going on financially, what I see going on as it pertains to race, what I see going on as it pertains to politics, what I see going on as it pertains to health and wellness. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And what I see is not great. It's not. I mean, how can any level-headed adult sit here in February of 2022 and go, yeah, man, things are going great? And I'm not talking just about COVID and the pandemic. Obviously, we've been through a very traumatizing experience where there's been a lot of things that have been done right, and there's a lot of things that have been done horribly wrong. I mean, fundamentally horribly wrong. Can't talk about it, though. You get shut down. But it needs to be talked about. How are we supposed to improve and learn and grow as human beings, particularly as adults? How are we supposed to pave the landscape of the future of our country and our world for our children if we can't even have dialogue? If we can't say, you know what? I fucked up on that. I'm sorry. Or, you didn't get that right. Sorry. But instead, we live in this world where we are more divided than ever. And we've watched it happen. Years ago, it was CNN and Fox, and Fox, and I actually think, and those of you who know me, I tend to be a little bit more to the right? So if I were going to watch mainstream media, I'd watch Fox over CNN, I would. But I'll also be the first to say that I don't remember way back when CNN started that they were so divisively to the left. I do remember Fox clearly positioning themselves to the right, and I feel like they started some of this shit. Really, I really do. But now we live in this world where the mainstream media is divided. People's political beliefs are divided. People's beliefs about how the pandemic should be handled and whether you should be vaccinated or not, it's divided. It's divided, right? Right? Is that just us, the people? Like, if there was no news and there was no politicians, would we be so damn divided? I don't think so. I don't know though, but I can tell you that there is clearly something going on right now that is stoking this division. And if you buy into it, if you sit in front of that TV every day and you just guzzle whatever confirms your beliefs day after day after day, you're done. Check out. Because you don't get it. You don't get what's really going on. And what's happening right now is not good for our country. This extreme focus on race and sexuality is not good for our country. This bickering and getting nothing done in Washington is not good for our country. Our inability to be strong, clear, and decisive on the world stage, not good for our country. The list goes on and on and on. And my only big fear is like, is it too late? Is it too late to pull this back together? I hope not, but I've sat here keeping my mouth shut and watched this, and it's just like, what else can you do but just speak up and be commonsensical, okay? We need a nation that is strong and united. We need to understand each other's differences and respect them. As hard as it is, we have to do that, because this tearing each other down, this ripping the country apart, this shitting all over the country that somehow this country was founded on all the wrong principles, what is that going to do? Ask any person who has left a country around the world that was either under communism or socialism or just extreme poverty. Ask those people about their view of our country when they get here. Ask them now also what they see happening. And many of them will tell you what we see happening in this country is what we saw happen in our country before we left. And now we're seeing it happen here. This total devaluation of who we are as a nation, this inability to stand up and be proud and say, yes, we are Americans of all colors, all races, all religions, all sexual orientations. That's who we are. And we find a way to come together and work together. That's the fundamental thing that needs to make this deal work, and it's just being torn apart right before our very eyes. And our fundamental freedoms are slowly going away, okay? It's happening before our very eyes. We've watched as COVID came across the world. Okay, I understand. Yes. What do you do? Okay, well, we got to lock down. We got to put everybody, separate everybody to reduce the spread, wear masks. All these things initially seemed like good ideas. Many of them have turned out to not be effective at all. What we've been seeing done to our children, 3, 4, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds being forced to go to school wearing masks, it's ridiculous. And the very politicians who vote for this type of stuff are recently photographed out and about. Stacey Abrams sitting in a classroom full of children. The children are all wearing masks. She's sitting there with no mask on. Gavin Newsom at the Super Bowl. Mayor Garcetti at the Super Bowl. You know what he said? I held my breath. I mean, come on. Aren't we tired of this hypocrisy and this bullshit that we're being fed? This is not about left or right. Forget that. Like, it's all the same thing. The government, left, right, it's two pieces of the same thing. And we, for years, we pick our side. Oh, well, this side more closely resembles what I believe. And this side more closely resembles what I believe. Great, good, great. Let's divide even further. Let's argue about vaccines or no vaccines. Let's argue about vaccine mandates or no vaccine mandates. Let's make people have passports, right? Right? Which now there's a whole counterfeit industry. Shocker. Didn't see that coming. creating phony vaccine passports so people can lie about it. I mean, where are we going with all this stuff? It's absurd. And I realize I'm just on a rant right now. I'm on a rant. I had some notes here, but I'm just on a rant because at the end of the day, I'm extremely frustrated. I'm extremely disappointed what I'm seeing happening in our country right now. I am. And I don't know exactly what the solution is. Like, I'm just going to put that out. I don't know what it is, but I do know this. If we continue to divide ourselves amongst each other, if we continue to not want to listen to each other and shit all over each other and stand our little grounds in our little areas, I believe this, I believe that, I believe this. Okay, what about the common good? Okay, we cannot have a nation of 330 individual tribes. 330 million. Excuse me. We have to find ways to come together. And the only way that we can come together is to recognize right off the bat, we're going to disagree about almost everything. It's going to happen. That's natural. We're adults. We've all come from different backgrounds. Okay? I don't understand everybody's experience. I hardly understand mine as an adult. I'm still trying to learn and grow and understand who I am, right? Aren't you? But if we start from the starting point of saying, hey, listen, there's a lot that we're not going to agree on. But what can we agree on? Well, I think we can all agree that we would like to continually work towards making the world a better place for ourselves and for our children. I think most of us can agree that hard work and discipline and getting up every day and going out and contributing to society is a positive. I think teaching our children good values and how to love one another and how to develop their own special skill sets, I think we can all agree on that. I think we'd all like to see everybody do better. Okay? We don't need to steal from the rich to make it happen. There's opportunity. There's opportunity. People who want opportunity, people who find opportunity, people who are willing to make opportunity happen because they believe it. This notion that I can't get ahead because this, that, and the other thing. No, you can't get ahead because of you. Why are we not focusing on these things? Why are we not focusing on personal responsibility? Why are we not focusing on helping? Why are we not focusing on contributing back to our communities? Okay? We've let our education systems fall apart. We've let our education systems get taken over by ideologies and narratives that, quite frankly, are probably not good for our kids at this stage of their life. We've watched our infrastructure crumble. We've watched our prominence on the world stage crumble. And I know a lot of you, most of you know that I'm more to the right. And did Donald Trump help us? In some ways, I think yes. In some ways, no. Right? Set us back on the world stage. I would agree with that. I don't think Biden's doing any better either. We've got to address the fact that we don't really have any strong leadership candidates right now. It's a problem. That's a problem as other nations around the world continue to grow in strength and prominence. China, Russia, the alliances that they share, the geopolitical situation is shifting rapidly. We live in a world now where we've outsourced the majority of our production overseas to China. China is cranking out more engineers, mathematicians, and scientists every year than we have total. These shifts are happening, and they're happening right before our very eyes. And we're sitting here as a country bickering about stuff. And I don't want to say that race and sexuality isn't important, but I think we're all going to find real soon that it's not real important when the fundamental security, strength, and sovereignty of our nation continues to decrease. How important are these topics going to be then? If we let this deal fall apart because we're squabbling and bickering over the same shit for years, and everybody wants to express their own personal identity And everybody's own personal identity is so damn important. No, it's not. I'm sorry to say that. The collective good of the human race in the world is more important. If we take it down to our nation, the collective good of our nation, the health and strength and well-being of our nation is important. We have a significant health crisis in this country of obesity, drug addiction, suicide rates have gone up, drug addiction has gone up during this COVID pandemic as people have been shut in, people who need contact with other human beings, denied that ability, resorting to lifestyle choices that are leading them in the wrong direction. We've got some serious issues here. And are we making progress on any of it? You know? We're letting our politicians dictate to us what is the theme that we should all care about. You know? What happened to George Floyd was absolutely 100% wrong. And are there some bad cops around the country who have done some fucked up shit? Absolutely, yes. They need to be dealt on an individual basis. But defund law enforcement? Let's just take the cops off the street. How has that worked in any city where it's been tried? It's been a fiasco. We're watching some of the most beautiful cities in the world crumble and fall to shit. I've been to Oregon, Portland, Oregon. Was a beautiful city. By all intents and purposes now, total shithole. San Francisco, one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been to in its prime. I've also been there in the last few years. I wouldn't take my family there, or at least in certain sections of the city. It's an absolute disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace, and we've got politicians that are they're just letting it happen. Why? Does nobody want to take any accountability? Is everybody so afraid of saying no to people? I'm sorry, no, you can't have that. No, you can't do that. No, you can't live your life that way because it's not good for the collective whole. It's just, we're watching it happen. And so many of us, I, for one, totally afraid to speak up. I've got a business here. I'm responsible for this agency. I'm responsible for the people who work here. I'm responsible for my family. And I intend to honor that responsibility. And you better believe that I think twice at times to say, well, should I speak up about this stuff? Because I don't want it to affect anybody's livelihood, but I can't sit here and just watch this stuff right before my very eyes. Day in and day out. And yes, I'm a little bit more towards the right, and other people in my family are to the left. We don't see eye to eye on everything. That's okay. I think we all fundamentally want freedom and liberty and the ability to live our lives, to become somebody, to follow a pursuit, a dream, a passion, and to make something of yourself so that you can support yourself, you can support your family. Perhaps then you can give back to your community. These are the things that all people want fundamentally. Not everybody has the same access to it. We're not all born at the same starting line. That's just the way that it goes. But that doesn't mean we reorganize the whole game to make sure that everybody gets the same experience. Everybody's the same. Let's make sure everybody has the same outcome. How is that good for anybody? Again, I'm bouncing all over the place. I'm just going to. But where we're headed right now as a country is not good. And it needs the smartest people from the left and the smartest people from the right who have the guts and the balls and the determination and the chutzpah and whatever you want to call it to say, you know what, we need to step outside these rigid structures that our parties have fucking stamped on us, and we need to get away from this, and we need to work together to make a better world. That's what I would hope that we would be able to do. You know? But perhaps everybody's been bought and sold. Perhaps our politicians don't really have any power. And perhaps there's another game at play. Perhaps there's another game at play. And if there is, I suggest you all start educating yourselves on it. Because the world is shifting right before our eyes. And some of these things that we're experiencing here, I fear that these have been plans that have been put in motion for a long period of time. And now all of a sudden some of us are just starting to go, woohoo, wait a second. Please, ladies and gentlemen, if you care about your families, if you care about your livelihoods, if you care about your companies, your communities, if you care about human beings, take a moment to step back from this machine that we're all sucked into. Breathe some fresh air and try to get some information from some independent sources. Again, I tend to be more conservative on a lot of my beliefs, tend to be very liberal on some beliefs. Most of the journalists that I'm following right now that I respect are all from the left. Matt Taibbi, Glenn Greenwald, Russell Brand, not a journalist, just a personality. Joe Rogan supported Bernie Sanders. These are individuals who would, down the line, vote left. But for some reason, this group has stepped back and said, we're going to start calling it like we see it because there's just too much bullshit going on right now. The mainstream media is lockstep, tied in with the agenda of the administration. So I think we need to understand this. You know, my wife's from Russia. I've been to Russia. Okay, you know, there's the news is coming down from on high, and that's the message. And everybody knows it there, but we're having the same thing here. You know, we're seeing the same thing here. There are sources for information where journalists from the left and the right are able to write, and they're writing. You know, Substack. Go check out Substack. It's where journalists can offer their work up, and you subscribe to their feed, and you can read real journalism. Now, the mainstream media is trying to brand Substack as something that is for, you know, alt-right thinkers and conspiracy theorists. You know, anything that is a threat to the mainstream is being attacked right now. You think this hasn't been an orchestrated, organized hit on Joe Rogan? It absolutely has been. Absolutely 100% organized hit on this guy. Because he has been bringing information to the table that is not in line with the mainstream narrative. Okay? And if you think that's okay, if now it's your team, let's say, you know, you're more towards the left and you voted for Biden, okay. But now it's your team in power, so we've gotten to this point where it's our team against their team, your team against my team, whatever. And at the end of the day, none of us are winning. None of us are winning in this environment. I think I'm going to stop there. I just want to say, you know, to close this, that number one, I care very much about this country of ours, the United States of America. I believe that this country is the greatest country that we've ever seen in the history of the world. What we have been able to create in terms of wealth, prosperity, ingenuity, technology over the last 100 or so years, unbelievable. But I'm deeply concerned that we're seeing it start to just crumble apart right before our eyes. And I ask anybody who cares, communicate with me. Share your feelings. If you think I said something that doesn't make sense, if you think my position's wrong, please, I welcome it. Okay? I don't know everything. These are the things that I believe and see now at this level of my own personal development. I'm developing every day. If my opinions in a month are different on some topics than they are now, good. If that's because I've been exposed to more information or I've listened to more voices and I've got a different view, great. Happy to change my mind, happy to change my stance. But what I can say right now is I don't like where we're headed. And I know there are thousands, if not millions of people who feel the exact same way on both sides of the aisle right now. I care about this country. I care about the principles that it's founded on. I care deeply about people having opportunity to grow and be who they are and succeed, but also in a way that they understand we're all contributing to something here. We're all got to be working to make this deal better. And we can't do that if we're constantly tearing each other down, canceling each other. It's just not going to work. So, that's what I see.